Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Lawyer says Trump org cooperating with Mueller probe after subpoena news. President Donald Trump's private company scrambled Thursday to show it has long been cooperating with Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigators in response to a media report that it had gotten a new subpoena for documents tied to the Russia probe. The New York Times first reported that Mueller in recent weeks made the formal demand to the Trump Organization to turn over materials related to its investigation into Russian collusion with the Trump campaign in 2016. While Trump officials refused to confirm or deny the existence of a new subpoena, the company's lead outside attorney, Alan Futerfas, responded in a statement, "Since July 2017, we have advised the public that the Trump Organization is fully cooperative with all investigations, including the Special Counsel, and is responding to their requests. This is old news and our assistance and cooperation with the various investigations remains the same today." White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders referred questions Thursday about a subpoena back to the Trump Organization. "We're going to continue to fully cooperate out of respect for the Special Counsel," she said. Peter Carr, a spokesman for Mueller's Special Counsel, declined comment. A subpoena from Mueller to the Trump Organization may signal a significant escalation of his probe, law enforcement experts said. It also threatens to further agitate Trump, who told the New York Times last July that he would consider it a violation if the Special Counsel's office looked into his personal finances. One of Trump's personal attorneys, Jay Sekulow, told Politico last November that he would lodge formal objections with either Mueller or Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein if the Russia probe shifted into issues such as an old Trump real estate deal. "We'd view that as outside the scope of legitimate inquiry," Sekulow said. "We'd raise it." Barbara McQuaid, a former U.S. attorney from eastern Michigan, said the president's warning about crossing into his finances was unlikely to faze Mueller. "No responsible prosecutor could effectively investigate links between Russia and the Trump campaign without examining the financial records of all related entities, such as the Trump Organization, Trump himself and close family members and associates," she said. McQuaid added that a Mueller subpoena to the president's private company would signal a shift in tone for the special prosecutor since failure to comply can be met with a contempt order. Serving a subpoena as opposed to asking the Trump Organization to voluntarily produce records could be significant because it suggests that Mueller does not trust the organization to voluntarily comply with an informal request, which he has used for other witnesses, she said. Use of a subpoena also strengthens a claim of obstruction of justice if it is later determined that the recipient failed to produce all requested records. The Trump Organization has been under scrutiny in the Russia probes since their start. The Special Counsel's prosecutors requested White House documents last summer and interviewed several witnesses in the fall and winter about a statement written aboard Air Force One defending a June 2016 Trump Tower meeting between Trump campaign officials, including Donald Trump Jr., who now runs the company along with his brother Eric Trump, and Russians who were promising dirt on Hillary Clinton. Congressional investigators have also questioned Trump Jr., as well as longtime Trump Organization officials, including Personal Secretary Rona Graff and one of its former attorneys, Michael Cohen, who now serves as a personal attorney for the president. But House Intelligence Committee Democrats in a memo issued Tuesday complained that Republicans hadn't given the president's company a close enough examination. The minority lawmakers said a subpoena may be necessary for telephone records between the Trump Organization and Trump to determine whether there had been discussions between Trump Jr. and his father about the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting. Democrats complain that Republicans have also ignored their requests for interviews with Trump Organization officials including Attorney Alan Garden and Chief Financial Officer Alan Weisselberg. They've also have previously requested an interview with Eric Trump, a key advisor from the 2016 campaign. White House announces Easter egg roll set for April 2nd. 10-year-old Paris stupor must be ecstatic. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders on Thursday invited the Fort Campbell, Kentucky, native to next month's Easter egg roll. The event, the 140th for the White House, is set for April 2nd, Sanders said. "We are so patriotic in everything we do," Sanders said, reading from a letter Stupor sent to the president. She goes on to write that the president is doing a great job and says that if he would invite them to the Easter egg roll, she would do my happy dance all over the house. "Well, Paris, you can get your dancing shoes out," Sanders said. The annual White House tradition dates back to 1878, with Washingtonians gathering on the South Lawn to celebrate the Monday after Easter. Sanders also extended an invitation to the children of White House press corps members. Hensarlings last stand blocking banking bill. Texas Republican Jeb Hensarling is standing in the way of President Donald Trump's next big legislative victory. The outgoing chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, backed by House leadership, is refusing to rubber stamp the landmark bank deregulation bill the Senate passed Wednesday night in an overwhelming, bipartisan vote after years of work. The White House wants a bill on Trump's desk as soon as possible. But Hensarling warned Thursday that the House would sit on the legislation until senators agreed to negotiate how to expand the package to include proposals that would benefit more sectors of the financial industry. That's something the lawmakers are showing no appetite for after a brutal floor debate leading up to the bill's passage. "Some seem to be under the impression that we are going to vote on their bill," Hensarling said. "They are under a misimpression." Hensarling's refusal to accept the Senate proposal, which already incorporates about 40 pieces of House legislation, is stoking fears among some in the Trump administration and in the financial industry that their big win may become mired in the House. For the conservative lawmaker, a legacy is on the line. He faces a brief window to put his imprint on the most important banking legislation since the 2010 Dodd-Frank law, probably the last major initiative he'll deal with before he steps down in January. Senate Democrats who helped draft and pass the bill have inflamed tensions with the powerful committee chairman as well as House leaders by saying there's little room to modify the legislation. In a comment that rattled House Republicans, Senator John Tester, Democrat Montana, said Wednesday, "If he adds a bunch of crazy shit, it's going to die." "We've gotten it through the Senate," Tester said. "If he screws it up in the House, it's not going to go anywhere, and that would be real unfortunate for our community banks and credit unions." Hensarling has refused to back down, and he's now trying to force the Senate Democrats to come to the negotiating table. The next step is for certain senators to realize that for this to get to the president's desk they will have to negotiate in good faith, he said. "I'm not sure everyone has awakened to that reality." It's familiar territory for Hensarling. His tenure as Financial Services Chairman has been marked by a struggle to advance conservative economic policies that he says are critical to protect taxpayers and curtail government intervention in financial markets. He has at times let those steadfast beliefs trump pragmatism, even if it meant losing a legislative battle. This time, he's fighting for bills that he says have broad support from Democrats as well. Since he became chairman in 2013, the Financial Services Committee has been the spawning ground for dozens of pieces of legislation intended to scale back regulations. Amid resistance from former President Barack Obama, the Senate and the top Democrat on his committee, Representative Maxine Waters, Democrat California, much of the legislation that Hensarling ushered through the House failed to become law. But his deregulatory efforts kept the fire going, said Independent Community Bankers of America President and CEO Ken Fine. He kept pounding the drum during the Obama administration, Fine added. As chairman, he kept having his committee pass correction bill after correction bill after correction bill even though they didn't go anywhere in the Senate. It was a constant reminder that there were things happening that were hurting the local financial institutions. Trump's election changed the equation. Coupled with control of Congress, Republicans, and a coalition of willing Democrats, found their first real opportunity to revise Dodd-Frank. Hensarling wasted little time. He drafted a sweeping deregulatory bill called the Financial Choice Act that the House passed in June. It failed to attract a single Democratic vote, dooming its chances of becoming law. Late last year, Hensarling announced his plans to retire and pivoted. He began moving a raft of narrower, bipartisan bills, including pieces of the Choice Act, that would chip away at regulations in a more targeted fashion. At the same time, Senate Banking Chairman Mike Crapo, Republican Idaho, began ramping up talks with moderate Democrats on how to move a wide-ranging bank deregulation bill through the Senate. The negotiations, which built upon talks that had been quietly underway in the Senate for years, produced the bill the Senate passed Wednesday in a 67-31 vote. 16 Democrats withstood a barrage of attacks from the progressive wing of their party to help advance the legislation. The next morning, Hensarling stood his ground. He described the Senate bill as an important first step in getting a bill to the president's desk and demanded that senators sit down with him at the negotiating table. "I have spoken to the Speaker, and I am assured that S. 2155 will stay on his desk unless and until the Senate negotiates with the House," he said. Hensarling's office has circulated a list of 30 bipartisan bills that he wants to be considered. In a press briefing Thursday, Hensarling highlighted a few of them, including proposals aimed at easing the rules for angel investors and mergers and acquisitions brokers. In addition, he said there was language in the Senate bill that he wanted to negotiate. Hensarling has declined to highlight that the Senate bill includes dozens of proposals that have also moved through the House, a fact that the bill's supporters are beginning to tout amid the emerging legislative stalemate. "There's a ton of stuff," Senator Heidi Heitkamp, D&D, said Wednesday. National Economic Council Director, Gary Cohn was an honest broker coming back and forth saying, "Here's the list. A lot of what's in this bill already is stuff that has had tremendous support over in the House and the House has done a good job on." For Hensarling, however, it's still worth pushing for a few more to be included. "The good news is if they respect our work product there's so much more for them to choose from," he said. A Crapo spokeswoman declined to comment Thursday on Hensarling's request for negotiations. Democrats indicated they had no desire to expand the Senate legislation. Heitkamp said in a statement that the bill was carefully crafted so it would maintain strong bipartisan support. Hensarling is insisting on negotiations even as some House Republicans have admitted publicly that the Senate was already under strain. Last month, Representative Patrick McHenry, RNC, the vice chairman of the Financial Services Committee and one of the House's top vote counters, said the Senate was at its limit with that piece of legislation. The rift between the House and the Senate is exposing the legislation to a fresh wave of lobbying from sectors of the finance industry dissatisfied with the bill, including large insurers, big banks and credit reporting companies. At the same time, Hensarling has begun to face unusually public pressure from lobbyists who want the Senate bill to become law without delay. "We agree with Chairman Hensarling that not every single good proposal is in the bill," said Fine of the Community Bankers Trade Group. "However, we will not participate in killing a solid bipartisan bill just because it does not have everything we could want in it. We will not participate in making the perfect the enemy of the good." A senior Trump administration official praised the House for passing bills with bipartisan support. "There's been a lot of good policies that have been shaped in the House and Senate that are coming together in this bill," the official said. "The president has said he would sign the bill,